Come with me on an adventure to St. Louis for a photography conference. This is the second year that my girls and I have ventured off together to expand our skill sets, get inspired, and take our businesses to the next level. Guys, our Airbnb was so cute and we all had our own rooms and the beds were so comfortable. The days are long, so we weren't here a lot, but we would definitely stay again. Next up, we went to check in for the conference, and as you can see, the vendors were still setting up, but we registered and got everything we needed for classes to start the next day. Then Nicole rolled right into her first model shoot, and like a good friend, I got her some behind the scenes. Next, we got some food, and we hit the show floor one more time before calling it a night. This is Justin from Aftershoot. We love their software. And here is one last look at Union Station before it gets crazy tomorrow. Here we are the next morning waiting for the doors to open for the kickoff. 1,000 photographers fill the room, and then we hype ourselves up for the next 3 days of insanity. Then we roll right into our first class. This year, I took a lot of hands-on classes with live models, and I focused on how to do some new things with light. Can you believe I took this image? I could have went home right after this. But I stayed, and my next class was about shooting for senior boys. Now, this next class was about creative shoots that will stop people in their scroll. They had several models and themes set up for us, and we got to shoot almost the entire time. I had so much fun in this class, and it made me realize that I should take time to do some shoots just for fun every now and then and really let my creativity run wild. I usually just work to provide, and that can really burn you out. So now a moment of silence to really enjoy these images. When classes were over, I got to FaceTime my boys. And please tell me why Christian was in the middle of a driving lesson. I was not prepared. And also, don't judge me. I was very hungry during this FaceTime. Nicole and Katrina both had shoots scheduled, so while I waited for them to finish, I packed up my stuff so we could head to dinner afterwards. We passed by the Ferris wheel on the way to dinner, and then we showered and crashed when we got back to our Airbnb. Now, the next morning was a hot mess express, and it started with us being completely blocked in by construction workers. We had to call an Uber to bring us to Union Station, and when I tell you it was the most disgusting Uber ride of my life. Look at this. Drawings and food on the ceiling. And what is that? Stickers and boogers on the windows? But seriously, wait, there's more. Because look at the floor. You already know that this Uber driver got 1 star from us because that was the lowest that we could possibly give. And honestly, there's just no words. So after that, I go on here to tell you guys about how we ended up in this predicament while I am simultaneously looking for my first class, which we are definitely late for. And this was all just icing on the cake because late last night, Nicole emerged out of her room having a full-on allergic reaction. Hives were emerging all over her face and neck by the minute, and Katrina and I booked it to the nearest 24-hour Walgreens to get her some extra strength, work right now Benadryl. And this is where my Chicago style of driving definitely came in real handy because I was driving like I owned the streets of St. Louis, but I knew we had a small window before an urgent situation became an emergent situation. Katrina and I took turns monitoring our patient until we felt comfortable enough with her recovery to finally get some sleep. I made it to my first class and I didn't miss too much. Here's me trying to navigate my way to my next class, and eventually I did have to pull over because I'm not gonna lie, reading maps is just really not my ministry. But I figured it out eventually and I was on my way. Turns out there was literally no need to rush because the teacher of my next class was running late. These are my classmates being so patient as we waited 40 minutes for them to set up. I was excited about the class, which is why I stayed, but I was definitely frustrated. If you can't tell, the theme was monochromatic. At the end of class, a sweet fellow photographer let me try out her camera holster that I had been seeing left and right. I immediately understood the hype and I went right to the vendor's booth to get me one. Here's a clip of me back home in my studio getting familiar with the locking mechanism. Next time I shoot for you, I will be rocking my sweet new holster. This mini class was about knowing our worth and was taught by the conference founder himself, Sal Sincata. There was no room left, and yes, that is us sitting on the floor to get that wisdom, honey. This class might have been my absolute favorite because we really got to play around with light and colors to create some truly dynamic images. I'm going to be practicing some of this week, so stay tuned. This is a snippet of my very last class, and after this, we ate and we talked and we recapped and we called it a night. The next morning, it was time to pack up and say bye to STL, but what's a visit to St. Louis without seeing the Gateway Arch? We met some new friends who video bombed our TikTok, and then we made our way inside. We're going into the museum at the arch. I'm really excited. Come along. There was so much to see and learn and take in. I honestly love a good museum. To top it all off, we decided to take a ride to the very top of the arch. Katrina is not a fan of enclosed spaces, so I reassured her with some Kendrick Lamar that it's gonna be all right. Okay, it's rocking. I wasn't expecting that. I'm okay. We finally made our way to the top, and I was not ready because it was high-key amazing. Look at this view. Now look at the view from the other side. It's giving Ohio River. We found an original Ponderosa on our way home, and now here's a few pictures as we bring this to a close. Overall, I had such a good time. I learned a ton, got to practice some new skills, got inspired, met some new friends, and I'm feeling refreshed and ready to get back to the grind here in my city. Thanks for watching.